So there is a P0141 auto sensor hidden circuit bank 1 sensor 2. This is supposed to be a downstream, so behind a cat. So there are a few reasons for this code: exhaust gas leaks and so on and so forth, and also rear heated oxygen sensor bank 1 circuit poor electrical connection, or harness is open or shorted. We'll double check the heated circuit first. I use my rams to lift the car up on passenger side, also for the rear axle, so it's a little bit higher and I have more room to work underneath the car. And I also choke the wheel on driver's side on the rear axle. Underneath the passenger seat there is this gray connector. It's for the auto sensor, downstream auto sensor, and you have to just pop this carpet up and you'll see the connector just underneath. Once you have this connector disconnected, you'll double check the color of the wires on the back, and double check the same colored wires. I have two black ones, you might have two white ones. So you might see it better now. I have two black ones right beside each other. So I will set up my multimeter to 200 ohm range. And now I have my two probes inserted in those two pins. And it's open circuit, there is no resistance. So this way I double check that the heater circuit is open, no connection. And just because I don't want to give up too easy, I cut those two black wires just before the auto sensor to make sure that the wiring is good and the auto sensor is bad. So I measure the resistance this way, and as you see, it's always the same, again the same, no resistance. Yeah, the heated circuit of that auto sensor is bad. So I will cut those two wires to make it easier for me to unscrew the auto sensor from the cat. I'm gonna cut this zip tie. There is another one over here behind it. There is another kind of like a plastic clip, so you just pull this off, and with a flathead screwdriver or something similar, you have to pop this rubber off and pull the wiring out of the cap. So at the end, this is how it looks like. This is connector underneath the passenger seat, the rubber grommet, and the wire cut off. Now it's time to remove this auto sensor. I'm gonna spray some liquid range around it. It's not really cold, but it's not too hot, so that's why you can see the smoke. So what I'm gonna use here is a auto sensor socket. That's a 3/8 drive, then 3-inch extension, 3/8 3-inch extension, then 1/2 inch to 3-inch adapter, swivel 1/2 inch, and then 1/2 inch extensions all the way out of the car, supported by the lumbar. So it looks like this, and now you have more leverage and more room to play with it. But I'm also using another like a 4x6 piece of lumber to make sure that when I press on it, it's gonna be held in steady position, so those 1/2 inch extensions, they don't play in the air, they don't fly in the air. Well, you will hear a little pop, hopefully, and then after the loud pop, the auto sensor usually gives up. I bought this new auto sensor from Amazon, and I really don't recommend you to do the same thing, do the same mistake, because as you see, that is just the wire. There is not this rubber, sealing rubber on the bottom of the chassis, so I have to figure something out here to put it in place. So let's get a little bit creative here. I'm gonna cut this one off, pull the wire out. I'm gonna use my utility knife and I'm gonna cut through so I can open this rubber grommet like that, and I'm gonna just insert my wire in there, and I'll be hoping for the best. This should do it. It's not perfect, but there is no other chance I can see here how to actually make it work. And just before you screw the new auto sensor in there, don't forget to put some garlic sauce on the threads so it will seal better. I'm kidding, no garlic sauce. Mount your auto sensor first and then play with the connector, because I saw Scotty Kilmer do it the other way, and then once you plug the connector in first, you're trying to screw the auto sensor in there, your wire is getting tangled, so don't do that. Auto sensor first, then play with the connector. Now I'm using the auto sensor socket with the 3-inch 3/8 extension and 3/8 ratchet. I will post the torque specification in the description. Now it's time to do some fishing, so I use my tie wire. I pushed it into this hole and I opened the door with my other hand, and I'm looking for the tie wire underneath the passenger seat. So I will wrap it around here. So with my other hand, just underneath the passenger seat, I'm gonna pull this wire and help it to push it in there a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm there. Yeah, let's double check it. Yeah, I see the wire here. It's coming from the bottom, so we are good. Yeah, just you must be patient because there is not too much room in that area where the connector is, but it's clicked in, connected. Let's get back to the rubber grommet. The rubber grommet has this kind of like opening for the wire, so it's gonna be facing that way towards the connector. Once the rubber grommet is inside the hole itself should keep the rubber nice and tight, like waterproof, hopefully. Now it's time to play with this rubber grommet to put it in place. And I will probably start on this good end. I think it should be good. Just be careful with the flathead screwdriver, don't push it in too hard. Just small steps. And now it sits right here in this white bracket. I can tie those zip ties up, both of them. And don't forget to make underneath this passenger seat nice and neat, so tackle it in and put the carpet back on. I erased the code and it did come back, so this should do it. It always came back when I erased the code before, so the heater circuit was definitely bad. And now this new auto sensor, it looks like it works. So far so good, no codes, good to go. And don't forget the garlic sauce.